Being a DM, I am often inspired by things I see in media, and I'm sure many other DMs do the same. Whether it's seeing a movie that changes our personality for a few months, a character that we love so much we make an NPC based off of them, or watching another DM do something creative and inventive that we've never seen before. Part of it is interesting creatures, so I typically homebrew creatures for them to fight. For those who've never done it before, if you read page 273 of the DM's guide, you'll see it's a bit of a complex task to stat a creature. And noticing that sparked an idea in me. What if I made a place where DMs, old and new, could see creatures statted from shows and video games they like? And this series I'm starting will be the place in which I do that. So, dice rollers, welcome to Nat 1 Dragon's Monster Dungeon. Due to the popularity of the Arcane series and my many depressing years of League of Legends, I decided to start this series off with the monster of Zaun himself, Warwick. Warwick is a character in the League of Legends video game, and though he is featured in Season 2 of Arcane, we'll primarily be focusing on his League version. Partially for spoilers, partially because I want to make that a different video. Warwick is a large werewolf-type creature with a mixture of human and canine DNA. He is covered in bluish-gray fur, has massive fangs, and yellow eyes that turn red when he senses blood or danger. In the original League canon, Warwick is in constant pain and rampages through the streets of Zaun at night, though his memories of his old life stop him from hurting anyone innocent. But we'll get back to how to play him after we stat him. Is it legendary? Yes, Warwick is a legendary folktale creature from Zaun. For the people who haven't seen him, he's no more than a boogeyman or a story. But when you see him, that terrifying reality comes to truth, and that should be reflected in how he's played in the game. As a legendary creature, he'll have legendary actions and 3 uses of legendary resistances a day. The goal is to make him a CR 12 to 13 creature, so we'll be choosing his stats with that goal in mind. When it comes to size, Warwick is large, very easy to keep it in your pants, so we'll stat him as a large beast. I want him to have an HP close to some of the other CR 12 creatures, so we'll give him 179 hit points, or 16 D12s plus 75. We're making sure to put that Titanic Hydra we bought to good use. And being a CR 12, he'll have a proficiency bonus of 5. When it comes to how he plays in League of Legends, he has 3 things. Fast, strong, and can take a lot of abuse. So we'll make strength, constitution, and dexterity his best stats. We're starting with strength, we'll make that 21. He's known for leaping across the map, and I want him to feel strong enough to do that. Next for dex, I think a 16 is appropriate. I kind of want him to feel like he can fail dexterity checks as he barrels towards players with reckless abandon. Next for constitution, we're going to go with a 20. He's meant to soak up damage and resist things like poison, so this feels appropriate. For intelligence, we're going with a flat 10. He's not dumb, he's just in constant pain, which is clouding his mind and judgment. And it's still a higher stat than most of the people who solo queue with me included. For wisdom, we'll do 14, and for charisma, we'll do 12, so he has some fighting chance against spell saves. Also, look at that face. Do you really want to cast banishment on this face? Speaking of saving throws, his saving throws are going to look something like this. Now on to skills. An imagery I find hilarious is Warwick grabbing a player or an NPC and leaping away with them. So because of that, we're giving him crazy athletics. We'll also make him have high stealth and perception so that he can avoid the players until the big battle. That makes it easier for you guys to set up quests to find him and or avoid, but still be somewhere in the shadows if you want a more spooky feel to the character. Just looking out for anyone that wants to use him in a horror campaign. He'll stalk and creep in the night. One of your players gets a small cut on their hand or something of the like, and the next thing they know, they're grappled by the world's grumpiest tortured wolf going Mach 5 through the forest. This is one of those things that is not super necessary to the character stat, but the DM should have as much fun as the players. When it comes to resistances and immunities, I think we'll give him one of each. Since he is an absolute menace to ADCs who don't know how to kite, we'll give him a resistance to piercing damage. Also, the imagery of arrows sticking into him and falling out when he roars is too good to pass up. I was initially going to give him an immunity to charm, but then I remembered Ari exists, so instead we'll give him immunity to fear. He's supposed to be scary, not the one who's scared off. For his senses, Warwick is triggered almost exclusively to the smell of blood, and only travels in a dark, dank Undercity. With that being said, he'll have 60 feet of blind sight and 120 feet of dark vision. I would like to say from a roleplay aspect, his blind sight primarily works through a sense of smell, but you're the DM, do whatever you like. Dragons in D&D have the ability Frightful Presence innately, but I thought a reskin of this ability would be a perfect fit for Warwick's character, because if he left me in the dead of night, I'm sure my bones would jump out of my body before he even got to me. Each creature of Warwick's choice that is within 120 feet of him and aware of it must succeed on a DC 16 Wisdom saving throw, or become frightened for a minute. A creature can repeat the saving throw at the end of each of its turns. If a creature's saving throw is successful, or the effect ends for it, the creature is immune to Warwick's Primal Howl for the next 24 hours. He is gonna have multi-attack. Warwick can use his Primal Howl. He then makes 3 attacks, 1 with his bite and 2 with his claws. Warwick's bite is gonna have a +10 to hit with a reach of 5 feet and do 2d10 plus 6 piercing damage. Warwick's claw is gonna have a +10 to hit with a 10-foot reach and do 2d6 plus 6 slashing damage. Instead of having a breath weapon like a dragon, Warwick will have aura weapons. They work similarly and recharge on a rolled 5 or 6 on a d6. Why did I give Warwick an AoE breath weapon? Because I think they're cool. If you don't like them, don't use them. But just know you're missing out on a ton of cool points. The first aura weapon will be Undercity Scream. Warwick screams into the sky, emitting an aura in a 30-foot radius. Each creature in the radius will make a DC 17 dexterity saving throw, taking 40 or 12d6 force damage on a failed save, and half as much on a successful one. Adjust the radius for what works for your campaigns, but this ability is mainly to damage the party if they bring help or an action economy becomes a pain. His second aura weapon will be Monstrous Leap. If Warwick jumps at least 15 feet as a part of its movement, it can then use its action to land on its feet in a space that contains 1 or more other creatures. Each of those creatures must succeed on a DC 17 Strength or Dexterity saving throw, the target's choice, or be knocked prone, taking 14 or 3d6 plus 4 bludgeoning damage. On a successful save, the creature only takes half damage and is knocked prone. This is pretty reminiscent to the Bullet's Dive ability, but also the closest representation I can get to Warwick's ult in League of Legends without feeling as bad as it does in League of Legends. The only other representation I can think of is Hulk doing a fastball special into your backline in Marvel Rivals. He's a legendary creature, so these are his legendary actions. His first legendary action is Concussive Screech. Warwick fires a blast of compressed air at a creature. The creature makes a DC 17 Constitution saving throw or takes 13 2d6 plus 6 bludgeoning damage and be knocked prone. This is nothing really like Warwick's moves in the game, but I thought it'd be a fitting anti-air option for him. Also, as soon as your players start to feel safe flying out of Warwick's range, this is a mix-up that could knock them out of the sky. That or hit that Wolverine leap at them, and this gigantic werewolf terrifyingly grabs them out of the sky. His next legendary ability is Blood Hunt. Warwick smells blood. Red veins around his eyes glow. Warwick gains an additional 20 feet of movement towards any creature below half their maximum hit points, rounded down. This lasts until the end of Warwick's next turn. Additionally, if Warwick is below half his total hit points, he regains 9 2d4 plus 4 hit points. I think the imagery of his wounds closing or blood being sucked into his body will both be inaccurate to the character and a scary ability. And for his last legendary action, Infinite Duress. This costs 2 of your legendary actions. Warwick's body glows a bright red as he screams into the sky, emitting an aura of a 10-foot radius. Each creature in that radius must make a DC 17 Constitution saving throw, or be stunned for a turn. Infinite Duress in League is Warwick's ultimate, where he stuns you in place while he treats you like an extra chewable chew toy. This version of the ability is an AoE ability, where he has the chance of stunning if he's being overwhelmed. Adjust the save DC for how mean you want to be to your party. Now, with all of that info, let's take it, put it together, and make it look a little more D&D official. And there you have it, the Warwick, Wrath of the Undercity. Now, for how to play Warwick. His quest should play similar to any hunt down or hunt down this beast encounter. Have your players find clues to where he sleeps or set a trap to lure him out before the big confrontation. A lot of the appeal of using this creature will be the suspense, the creepiness before you see him, similar to horror movies. Then, in combat, have him do big damage to whoever he locks onto, and only move to targets that have hit him or injured him. For flyers, knock them out of the sky, or terrifyingly leap at them with his massive movement speed. Keep in mind that Warwick was a good man at one point. If he sees a cleric praying, if he sees a baby or an old woman, he's unlikely to just attack them. But if he sees a thief, or someone being aggressive with someone, even if it's a couple's argument, those are who he would target. If your party is combative or not heavy into roleplay, use him as a mindless beast who's out to destroy them. But for those with a bit more compassion, set up ways for him to be put to sleep, tranquilized, or even cured. If it suits the party or makes the quest more interesting, adopt aspects of this creature was once a human, and if they see him in that way, make that quest have a payoff. And now you know how to stat Warwick in your games. Feel free to use this character in your campaigns, tell me stories of your sessions in my comments, and things I could change or improve about the stat block. The official image I showed in the video will be posted in my Discord, and the link will be below. So whether you grew up playing League, just enjoy the character, or none of the above, thank you for watching. Make today better than yesterday, and until next time, see you later.